Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 8:57 a.m. and you are watching Good Morning Aurora and Aurora Weather, the second largest city's first daily news podcast and second largest city's first daily weather report, respectively. Today's weather, as always, comes from the National Weather Service of Chicago, delivered to you here on Good Morning Aurora. Let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see above me, showers and scattered storms tonight. Yes. Prepare yourself, get ready. The weather has been feeling fantastic over the last couple of days, but we are moving on to new things. What to expect? Widespread rain with scattered thunderstorms. And the main window for storms you can see here, okay? Now, all thunderstorms will produce lightning strikes, downpours, which will affect the driving, and gusty winds as well. Now, the strongest storms may produce localized damaging winds capable of downing tree limbs and fences. Now, where I come from, we call that a humdinger. All right. Hail up to a quarter size can be expected as well. Please take heed of these instructions, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what should you do? Move indoors if you hear thunder, okay? And also, use caution when driving in heavy rain. Now, on this side, we can see our severe weather threat indicator. And right now, it's at 1. In the green. We don't want it to get any further than that. So if it does, be on the lookout for more updates from the National Weather Service of Chicago. Now for the forecast. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about it. Unseasonably mild once again today. We like that. That doesn't feel too bad, but let's get ready for that change. Today, daytime high of 75 degrees with a daytime low of 69 degrees. Breezy and the 30% chance of thunderstorms to begin in the late afternoon today. Tonight, nighttime high 52 degrees with a nighttime low of 39 degrees. A few strong thunderstorms are possible as well, scattered thunderstorms. Going into tomorrow, a daytime high of 55 degrees with a daytime low of 46 degrees. Now, there's a whole lot going on tomorrow. What do we notice? Scattered thunderstorms during the morning near southeast of I-55. Going into tomorrow night, 39 degrees for the nighttime high, 31 degrees for the nighttime low. Cloudy night on Tuesday night. That cloudiness brings us into Wednesday. 54 degrees for the daytime high, 47 degrees for the daytime low. It looks like the sun will be with us on Wednesday. That is very much appreciated. Wednesday night, 37 degrees for your nighttime high, 32 degrees for your nighttime low. That nighttime of Wednesday brings us into Thursday, 55 degrees for the daytime high, 48 degrees for the daytime low. A nice sunny day on Thursday. However, take a look at Thursday night. Look at that. 42 degrees for the nighttime high, 36 degrees for the nighttime low, and rain. A 30% chance of said rain. Let's recap. Today, 75 degrees for the daytime high, 69 degrees for the daytime low. Get ready for thunderstorms tonight. They are coming. 52 degrees for the nighttime high, 39 degrees for the nighttime low. Tomorrow, 55 degrees for the daytime high, 46 degrees for the daytime low. Wednesday, 54 degrees for the daytime high and 47 degrees for the daytime low. And on Thursday, once again, 55 degrees for the daytime high, 48 degrees for the daytime low. Now, in addition to that, the last thing I want to tell you about is from Tuesday to Thursday, we can expect 40s near the Lake Michigan shore. Hold on, we'll get to Teresa Burrell real quick. So 40s to Lakeshore Drive. Lake Michigan shore. All right, now for other news. Okay, so the volunteer workshop is coming up this Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Neighbor Project has the volunteer workshop from 10 a.m. to noon. Coffee, donuts, and water will be provided. This will be a fantastic time for you to come learn about the Neighbor Project. Also take part in some of the duties, light painting, yard work, and things of that nature. They are very, very important. Now, I hope that you guys have a fantastic morning. Get ready for a great show. We've got Congressman Bill Foster. Let's begin. morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 9:04 a.m., and you are listening to and watching Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. It's Monday. Welcome back. We've missed you all weekend. We have a great program for you guys today. My guest is Congressman Bill Foster, here to talk to us about many, many, many great things. Science, substance use disorder, mental health foundation, all kinds of great stuff. How are we, Congressman?
I'm doing fine, Curtis.
Good to see you.
Not
again.
Everything on your list was great. I don't think substance
not
use
everything.
disorder.
Not everything. Not everything. But it is good to see you.
Yeah.
And we do have many great things to talk about. I think how we'll start is kind of what you and I were discussing first was the town halls, the recent town halls that you had, guest speakers from Gateway Foundation, Kane County Health Department. Can you tell us about those?
What? Well, this substance use disorder has been, at the top of my list for as long as I've been in office. And what's happened because of some of the efforts of the groups that you mentioned, groups like NAMI are that I guess I understand you're to be congratulated for now being on the board of NAMI.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
That's
right.
But groups like that and many others have really made progress in convincing people that substance use disorder is not a moral failing.
Right.
It is a medically diagnosable condition. And when you go at it with that attitude and you bring in the scientific understanding of exactly what happens in people's brains when they become addicted, that you understand that, yes, this is something where you can put effort into research and find ways to cure the problem.
Right.
So it's a very different narrative than we've lived with for centuries on substance use disorder.
Yes.
And there's some really incredible research that's been done. At Argonne National Labs, they actually won the Nobel Prize for discovering or actually imaging the effects of these things called G-coupled protein receptors. So when the opioid molecule hits the neuron in your brain that makes you addicted, then the mechanism for getting through the cell membrane is called a G-coupled protein receptor. And at Argonne National Labs, they can actually use their giant synchrotron light source, huge machine they have there, to image the moment where the molecule hits the neuron.
That's amazing.
And so when you have that sort of understanding of the detailed mechanism, you can say, okay, now how do we shut that down? And so there have been developed over the last decades a series of more and more effective drugs that block the effects of opioids.
That's amazing.
And so, one of the famous ones there is Vivitrol, which is, it's a shot in the butt once a month. And if you take this shot once a month, you can take fentanyl and not feel it and have no effect. And so this has been transformative. And the challenge there has been to get this widely adopted.
Right.
And so I've had for more than 5 years now, I have been successfully getting larger and larger packages of funding approved through Congress to actually get that widely deployed.
Great. That is absolutely wonderful.
So it's a shift. And the other really exciting thing that's happened in the last few weeks is that there was the announcement of successful stage 3 trials for painkillers that are not opioids. So if you think about if you need a painkiller, there's a nerve that's connecting the source of the pain to your brain.
Right.
If you take fentanyl or opioids to kill it, you're working on the end of the nerve that's in the brain, and that unfortunately it has the danger of addiction. All right. However, if you work on the other end of the nerve, there are drugs that have been developed that suppress the pain at the other end of the nerve, and if you take those, there's no danger of addiction. And so they just had a quite large clinical trial, and they found that there are things which are as effective as oxycodone that are not addictive.
That's amazing.
And so this is going to be, that it's not the whole problem with the whole pipeline into substance use disorder,
right,
but it is a big part of it, is that people that just, they get some source of pain, like even a high school injury, can lead to a lifetime of addiction.
Yeah.
And now you'll just say, okay, you're never going to get an opioid.
That important work and in the stigma associated with this too is very big, because as we know, there's folks out there who need the help but are afraid to move forward, kind of shake off some of these ill effects and move forward with their life. Time is 9:09. We talked before the camera came on about many things, from lead service lines to the Boys and Girls Club, and also an update, a forensic science center. Is that right? Can you tell us about that?
Well, first off, as you probably know, that over the last couple months, we have been actually delivering the money that we fought for more than a year ago.
Right.
And so these are things like the, let's say I got the list here. Well, the intersection at Montgomery Road and Hill Avenue, there's $1 million that we just delivered to the city of Aurora to upgrade that, because anyone who's familiar with that intersection know that it needs some work, both from a traffic and pedestrian point of view. There was also $3 million that we just delivered to the Neighbor Project,
yes.
And Hesed House and Association for Individual Development, that's going to be used to convert, I believe there was a change of plan. I think it is now a disused school.
Yes.
That is going to be used for affordable transition housing.
Correct.
For people who are, formerly homeless, now will have usable housing, and will have a path towards home ownership.
Yeah.
And so this
big.
is, this transitional housing will just be fantastic. And I was very proud, actually a couple of years ago now, to have put that funding in and actually see it now delivered. And now, which brings us to this year's fight.
Yes.
This is the FY 2024 money that's, when you hear, oh, we're having these big fights in Washington, I just want to say we're not fighting over nothing. And so the things that one of the many things that we're fighting over is how much money should be delivered to projects for this year. And the three specific ones that we have been advocating for are, first, to get more money to get rid of the lead service lines in people's drinking water. Aurora has a significant number of lead service lines. They are safe as long as you control the water chemistry. But if you screw up the way the city of Flint did,
right,
and you mess up the water chemistry, then all of a sudden these lead lines will start dissolving and into the drinking water, and then people drink the drinking water and their bodies get full of lead poisoning, which is just it causes a lifetime of damage, particularly young children. And so it's safe right now because Aurora controls its the chemistry of its water, but we got to get these lead lines just out. Okay. And the president actually is committed that, at least if he's reelected, that over the next 10 years we're going to just get rid of all lead lines.
Sounds like a massive project.
Well, that's right. And so that we had been asking for $3.5 million. We just found for the city of Aurora alone, much more for other places in my district, and we just found that had been reduced. Well, the Republican counteroffer that we just found about this morning was to give us about a quarter of that money. Okay. And that's one of the things. Late tonight, I'm flying back to D.C., and we are going to be continuing that negotiation to see if we can, get a little bit, as much as we can, because for projects like this, a similar situation, we'd ask for $3.5 million for sanitary and sewer infrastructure that to make the Fox River a little cleaner, for one thing, but also reduce the probability of people having their sewers back up into the basement, which is a real threat in many of the low-lying areas of Aurora. And so that we'd ask for $3.5 million, and again, we got about a quarter of it in the Republican counteroffer, and so we're going to be preparing our counteroffer and see what we can get. Then we did get the full amount in their counteroffer. They gave us the full amount, $500,000, to help a Boys and Girls Clubhouse in Aurora get that. And so that's something where they gave us what we asked for. And then the other interesting thing that you'd mentioned is the Kane County Forensics Laboratory. This will be attached to the coroner's office. And this will be high-tech equipment to figure out why someone's died. So it's, sometimes it's just the chemistry in their blood that has to be studied. Other times there's much, it's things you read about on TV. And this will generate leads for cases which would otherwise have been unsolved.
Right, cold cases, very big for law enforcement, big to help the police
And it will be
departments.
used as a sort of regional facility too.
Okay.
So that if there are troublesome deaths that happen, really in the Quad County areas, they will.
Very interesting.
They will be used there.
The Boys and Girls Club, is that a new facility?
I believe it is a new facility. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
So
to
this
know.
will be a that's, they are wonderful. Boys and girls clubs are wonderful things.
Absolutely.
Everywhere they exist, and so
Absolutely. We'd be happy to showcase that if and when that comes online for you great folks. 9:14 is the time. Now, you were also recently appointed by leader Hakeem Jeffries to the bipartisan AI task force. This is special because in our very first interview, you mentioned AI and let folks know that it's coming. Change is coming. That was
Yep.
2-3 years ago.
Yep.
Here you are on the task force. Tell us about that, sir.
Well, I first encountered AI and neural networks back when I worked at Fermilab in the 1990s.
Okay.
And it was interesting. We were using neural networks, which are sort of a big component of AI. We were using them to classify particle physics interactions. What we were doing at Fermilab all the time I was there, we were smashing protons and antiprotons together to make particles that have not been around since the Big Bang. So you smash these together, you get a big spray of particles, and then you have equipment that looks at them and says, what the heck is this? And so that neural networks are a technique where you just sort of look at it holistically. And I can't explain it any better than that. You simulate what happens in people's brains. So we were using those to classify particle physics interactions. But interestingly, even back then, in the 1990s, we ran into a big problem that is still a problem. It's called the explainability problem. Like, let's say someone says, okay, I'm sorry, sir or madam, we have turned down your mortgage because our neural network says so. That's not an acceptable answer.
Right.
You have to be able to explain it to people. But then what we were arguing about back then, let's say we publish a paper that says we've discovered a new subatomic particle because our neural network says so. It's a useless paper. How do you even read it? And so we would have screaming fights back in the 1990s about the explainability problem. And it's still there because you get these incredibly powerful AI engines, but you cannot explain how they really work.
Right.
And there's a famous moment in the history of AI where there's this game called Go, which is sort of like a much more complicated version of chess, or maybe simpler, but much harder. That for very, very popular in the East Asia.
Okay.
And so there's the world champion of Go. Is a Korean gentleman who's like a hero there. And then AlphaGo, which is something Google put together to play Go, had to beat him. Okay? And the moment what happened, they were just having a normal Go game, and then all of a sudden the computer made a move 37 it's called. And in move 37, everyone said, what is this? This is nuts. The program must have a bug in it.
Right.
And then they looked at it, and after 2 hours, they said, that's the most brilliant Go move we have ever seen. And you can't explain it.
Right. Wow.
But it's incredibly powerful. And this is what really made China and Japan and Korea and a big part of the world so intent on we have to dominate the world in artificial intelligence.
Right.
Because they saw how powerful it was winning the game of Go. And so then, since then, we've just had incredible progress. This generative AI, where you can sort of, the latest thing that was in the news is you can sort of give a few paragraphs of prompt describing it, and you get a whole movie scene generated.
Right. Yeah.
And so, I saw this very, to me, very worrisome, but very somewhere between horrifying and thrilling and whatever. It was a demonstration of how this could be applied to architecture. And it went like this. You start out by saying, here is my lot of land. Here is the size of the land. Here's the hills on it. Here's where the sewer connections and the water connections are. And he said, now I want a house in the style of Frank Lloyd Wright, built on this. Okay, and so it said, okay, based on that, and I want 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms or whatever. And so based on that, it said bloop 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 bloop. Every 30 seconds, it would generate a new design concept. And for any one of these design concepts, you could walk through, have a photorealistic walkthrough and say, here's what it'll look like sitting at your kitchen table watching the sunrise in March.
That is...
Okay. And so then, and for each of these, it came up with a price estimate. And then you say, oh, that's too expensive. Why don't we have one fewer bedroom?
Right.
Okay. And then it would rework the design and rework the price. And then when you'd finally settled on it, you'd say, okay, that's it. And it would then produce the entire bill of materials and the bid package to send it out to a contractor to be built.
Yes, that's
Okay.
that's disconcerting. That
Yeah.
is-
Now, what does it mean if you are someone who's trained as an architect and has carrying a lot of student debt? Okay, and then all of a sudden there's this software available
Right.
that can do your job, as well as you probably can, and much faster and
Right.
much cheaper. And so this is, one of the lessons I've learned is that we're really all in this together. When we were talking about this 5 years ago, I said, oh boy, AI is going to take the jobs of the taxi drivers and the long haul truckers and the assembly line workers.
Right.
But it's sort of interesting. It's actually gone after, the very, the human skills. It's like Hollywood screenwriters
Yes.
had just had a big strike. And so it's gone after the creative arts first, which nobody guessed.
Right.
We thought it would be the repetitive, factory
The
worker.
mundane stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is, so I think when we realize we're all in this together, it's going to make it easier.
Okay.
And I'm very, there's a very bipartisan feel about what are we going to do about this.
Right.
It's sort of as though, many people have made the observation that if we're ever attacked by space aliens, you're not going to care who's the Democrat and who's the Republican.
No.
It's going to be us versus the space aliens.
Exactly.
And so artificial intelligence is sort of like this alien intelligence that's now attacking us.
Yeah.
And so there isn't necessarily a Democratic and a Republican position on this when we're all in this together.
There's simply the American position.
Well,
Now,
the human position.
The human position. 9:21 is the time. So, speaking of unions, now you will be heading to watch the State of the Union address.
Yep.
And Matt Franson, president of UAW Local 1268 in Belvedere, will be your guest. You've done a lot with and for the unions. Talk about that.
Oh, sure. Well, first off, I've been a huge supporter of the unions, and they have me my whole career in Congress. This was it was a big issue the very first time I ran to represent Aurora,
Right.
Where I remember right after I actually won the first election, I had to stand for re-election. There was this big billboards that went up. Why is Bill Foster killing jobs? Meaning there's the anti-union people, or they've been going after me my whole career,
Right.
because of how I vote. And one of the challenges of our time is preserving the health of the middle class, and the unions are so crucial to that. One of the nice things is that you see so much more support from young people for unions than you had 15
Previously.
years ago.
Right. Yeah.
I was up at a parade not too long ago. I think it was a pride parade, actually. But I met the gentleman who was the organizer who unionized a Starbucks.
Yes.
And he described how when they unionized it and got in the newspaper, then all of a sudden their business went way up. Because all the young people went, hey, cool, I want to go to the Starbucks that's been unionized.
Right.
And so that is, one of the things that has to happen. The other thing that has to happen is that when there are large numbers of jobs at risk, good union jobs, that we have to just fight like hell to keep them.
Right.
And so there was, when I first took office, the maps changed. And so, I've always represented Aurora, but every 10 years, the wizards down in Springfield come up with a new set of maps. And so I said, okay, if you're going to stay in Congress, where are you going to run? I always say, where did they put Aurora? That's where I'm going to run.
Right.
And so now they put Aurora in this district that has pieces of 8 counties. It's a crazy thing, but it goes all the way up to Belvedere,
Right.
up in the suburbs of Rockford almost. And so when I started representing Belvedere at the start of last year, there was an emergency because they had just announced the idling and probably the closure of the Belvedere Assembly Plant.
Wow.
If you ever been driving up toward Rockford or Madison or Minneapolis, you go by this great big automobile plant. It's the Belvedere Assembly Plant. It's the one that had the Jeep on its sort of launch pad
Yes.
going up
Yep.
for years and years, and many people remember that. But that had been, and for generations, that had sort of been the beating heart of the city of Belvedere. And if that factory had been shut down permanently, it just would have been almost a death sentence for Belvedere.
Yeah.
And so that was an emergency. And so there are 2 members of Congress that share a lot of the workers. There's Eric Sorensen and me. I represent the city of Belvedere, but he has many of the workers in his. And so we just sort of went on the warpath, and we went and demanded meetings and got them in the White House, in the Department of Energy, Department of Commerce, to try to make sure that all of the incentives that we had voted for in the Inflation Reduction Act and the CHIPS and Science Act and the Infrastructure Act, designed to speed the transition to electric vehicles, that all of these get applied to saving the Belvedere Assembly Plant.
Very big.
And yeah, and the other thing that was neat about that whole fight is that the I went to a big rally. There was a UAW strike at the
Yes.
same time, and many UAW members were fighting for many good things. And top of the line was the just getting decent pay and benefits.
Right.
But their number two demand in the negotiations was save Belvedere.
Save
And they did
Belvedere.
save the Belvedere Assembly Plant. And so this was union solidarity at its best, because these were union members from all over the United States.
Right.
And many of them knew what happened to a city when its one factory closes.
Yes.
If you just remember even the pain that Montgomery went through when the Caterpillar plant
Right.
sort of disappeared. And Aurora and Montgomery, we have other things going on. Belvedere is much more dependent
Right.
on that.
Dependent on that.
And many of the UAW members from all over the country knew what that meant. And so when I went to this rally down in south side of Chicago in the UAW Ford plant,
I saw the pictures.
yeah, and then everyone was wearing these red UAW shirts that said "We are all Belvedere," and that's the that's the union spirit and the solidarity that is really the best of unions, and it's watching
Yeah.
it burst to life. And so that's the reason that I actually have invited Matt Franzen, the president of the UAW local up in Belvedere, is going to be my guest at the State of the Union this Thursday.
Okay. All right.
So where he is, this is government doing its job properly.
Right.
There are times when a community really needs help, and particularly when we're having a turbulent economy.
Right.
It's really hard during the transition away from fossil fuels to electric vehicles. If you're not really careful, there are going to be a lot of communities disrupted.
The time is 9:26. We are going to go to a commercial here momentarily, but Congressman Foster, so that's this Thursday.
State of the Union.
State of the Union this Thursday. We'd like you guys to watch it, of course, after Good Morning Aurora, Congressman, before we wrap things up and move to commercial, is there any upcoming events or special news that you would like folks to know about?
Well, we're having another, the next one of our substance use disorder town halls will be up in Crystal Lake.
Okay.
I imagine most of your, my district actually has pieces of 8 different counties in it. And so I'm spread pretty thin, but, Aurora's been my home base for as long as I've been in this crazy business.
And we appreciate you, sir. We appreciate you very much. Crystal Lake is the next location event for the substance use town halls. We will, of course, endeavor to promote those flyers and let you guys see the good work and let you guys know about those town halls as well when they come up. Congressman, as you know, the show ends on a positive note. What's your message today for the constituents?
That there's a lot that government can do that's good. There's this narrative out there that everything government does is junk, and all politicians are just out for themselves. And there's some of that in politics, but there's a lot of good-hearted people trying to make people's lives better. And it's always a long fight. You never get 100% of what you want.
No.
I remember, 15 years ago now, the fight to get Obamacare passed. It was really rough.
Right.
And I lost my next election after voting for Obamacare, and then fought my way back with the help of a lot of people in Aurora.
Right.
And then spent the next decade trying to preserve Obamacare, and we just hit a record. 21 million people are now insured under Obamacare, and many of these people were uninsurable due to previous conditions beforehand. And so, you see numbers like that, and you realize that government, if it's run well, can do a lot of good for a lot of people, and you just have to stay at it and keep working. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said, sir. And a great way for what Congressman Foster said to apply to you, and especially for young folks, is to intern. If you are ever interested in learning more about what government can do, an internship with the Office of Congressman Bill Foster is a great way to start, or any of our other elected officials.
here.
And vote. That's the other thing.
Early voting has started.
Early voting has started. You can vote right down the street here at on Downer. So right now we're going to go to a commercial. Stay tuned because we've got more coming up.
Imagine what's possible when a city makes an unprecedented investment, a commitment that reshapes a city's landscape forever, that equalizes economic opportunity, elevates education for all, empowers businesses, inspires collaboration between institutions, improves public services, and enhances the lives of every resident. Now, imagine that city is ours. We know it's possible because other cities have done it. Places like Longmont, Colorado, a community that leveraged its investment in municipal electricity and upgraded its substations to create a 17-mile fiber loop, delivering critical connectivity to the city's institutions, organizations, and small businesses, achieving an incredibly high adoption rate. And in Pharr, Texas, a border town of 80,000, voted the least connected city in America, invested in 700 miles of fiber, delivering broadband managed services that are enriching residents' lives. Cities, towns, and regions are stepping up all over America. There is no question that Aurora can and deserves to be America's next great smart city. But it's up to us. We have a responsibility we can't ignore to see everyone living in our city, regardless of economic status, having broadband services that are simple, efficient, safe, and powerful. Imagine children having safe internet access anywhere, never needing to connect outside of a fast food restaurant. Imagine every building in every neighborhood and retail outlet, new and old, modernized, intuitive, secure. Imagine exciting subscribers with the ultimate broadband experience and giving parents control over all of it. Imagine deploying cyberbullying protection that notifies parents throughout Aurora that their kids are being bullied and providing resources to protect them. Imagine a city with first responders seamlessly connected and with safer public spaces. Can you see this smart city? Can you see our future? We do. Aurora is ready for world-class connection that serves our residents, that helps businesses grow and unifies our community. Let's take this opportunity to give all of our residents, businesses, and community organizations the advantages that come with unrivaled broadband infrastructure and services. Let's come together and deliver a world where digital equity creates a city that is smarter, safer, and sustainable for generations to come.
Not your bank's top priority? Here at Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. No hidden fees or runarounds, but a true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. Whether you're opening your first account, found your dream home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have the financial solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank. Wintrust, different approach, better results.
Good morning, you guys. Welcome to Java Plus. We are at Java Plus in Montgomery. The address is 1677 Montgomery Road, Suite 106, 108. In Aurora, 60504. We are here with one of the owners, Javier. How are you doing
Good morning.
today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for this opportunity to profile us.
Thanks for showing us your amazing place. And we're going to go ahead and check it out. So come on with us. Come along for the ride, right?
Absolutely.
Look at this. So tell us about this.
Yeah, this is a local artist that prepared it for us. This is where all our coffees come from, all the countries that our coffee come from. So we got
Wow.
representation from Latin America, Central America, South America, Africa, and we also have Bali in there as well too. So this is so that our customers are having an opportunity to know where their coffee comes from. So we serve 3 different coffees every day, and we change them up.
Wow.
Okay, and we have a listing of all the coffees that we do, so that you can sample all 3 coffees as well too when you come and visit us.
Oh, okay. I love it. Look at this variety. And you guys definitely have it all. And then this is Dan right here. He's another one of the owners. They're good friends, right?
Yeah, we just tolerate each other.
A little quick explanation. So these countries are the 10 countries that we carry on hand at all times. We
Okay.
actually have access to 15.
Wow. Okay.
So, but the other 5 are not
Look,
super important to me.
even Bali too, and Ethiopia.
Yes.
I love it. Kenya,
Sumatra,
Colombia,
Kenya.
Brazil, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Mexico.
And then from there, we
Sumatra.
create different blends.
Mm.
We have different flavors that we do. And when we go over by where the coffees are kept, you can see all the different flavors. All of our coffee is sugar-free.
Nice. Well, we're going to continue to check this amazing place out, you guys. How about this right over here?
This
So-
is very personal and very special for me. That's why I have my coffee cup here, right? Jesus and coffee.
Yes. Amen to that.
And we have Bible study here on Tuesday nights. Dwayne Washington, Pastor Washington comes, and he teaches from 6:30 until 8 o'clock, sharing the Bible. So if anybody is interested, please come and visit us on Tuesday nights from 6:30 to 8 o'clock.
Wonderful. That's amazing. Sometimes you're looking for that community
Yes.
to have those Bible studies and those discussions. So this is a great place to have it. So let's go ahead and check out all these different coffees we were just talking about, right?
Yes.
One of the things I notice here is that you have different collaborators, right? Not
That's
only for
right.
coffee, but others. So tell me about that.
Well, I'll let
What's
Dan
the
cover
focus?
this one because he's the one that committed.
Strangely enough, this is, again, she was my neighbor for 17 years when we lived in Lakewood Valley. Her name is Mandy Doy, that's right. She changed her name on me because she got married along the way. She's very active in the community, but she does bottled up, so she does all these by hand.
Oh, how
So
about
forth. I've
this?
known her for like 20 years, so
So
they're very attractive and so forth.
Yeah.
This is our personal table that I do just to showcase different products that we might bring in. Like if somebody wants to learn about making mochas or French presses, some gift baskets that we can create, a coffee canister, which is always recommended, especially one like that because it's vacuum sealed and airtight, keeps your coffee much fresher.
And then this here, the frother. I mean, if you want to make cappuccinos at home, this is it, you guys. So
Yeah, you definitely need that.
yes, for sure. And then right here we have,
His name is
Juan.
Juan.
yes,
I'm trying to remember his
the
last name.
Cayetano family.
Yes, the Cayetano
shout
family,
out to
exactly.
them.
So he does wonderful work. Met him at a farmer's market a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Um,
At the Royal Farmers Market. At that.
Yes.
so he does wonderful work.
So talented.
This is our single serve program. So again, I can make any single serve
Into.
that we have, but these are our like top 10.
Okay.
And we
Okay.
created an assorted program,
Mm-hmm.
so you can choose any 12, give or take, mix or match,
Okay.
or whatever.
Oh, and that's a presentation. That's how you.
These are little
Okay.
cake up things and so forth.
Very cute. Very
So again,
cute.
these are our top. Again, I can do any flavor in
Okay.
a single serve, but those are special orders because again, these are our most popular.
And tell them why our K-Cups program's a little bit better than
So-
other ones.
One of the
Yes.
things is, and if you're familiar with K-cups or single serve, Keurig do not get water hot enough.
Mm.
Typically, coffee should be made between 195 and 205
205.
Okay. Okay.
degrees. Typical Keurig is right around 180 degrees.
Okay.
So what we've done, instead of the typical cup, which has 8 grams, we have 12 grams of coffee, which makes a difference. It's going to be a stronger, it's the closest you can come to an artisan cup of coffee.
So it really kicks in, right?
Yes, you'll taste
Which
the
is what we
flavors.
need, yes,
absolutely.
And look at all this flavor: almond, amaretto, Mayan chocolate, blueberry, Michigan cherry, maple bourbon. I mean, come on. They have everything. Pumpkin spice, yes. So,
And we have the Latin blend too,
The
for
Latin
us, for those
blend, yes.
Latin people who love the strong coffee.
yes, yes, yes,
So
yes,
if
yes.
somebody like wanted a 12-pack of cake,
Uh-huh.
we can do that too.
Okay.
We have this, I have no idea.
There's also dog treats over here. I
That's
see.
correct.
So something for your puppy.
Yeah, we also have the dog treat there because we partnered with a dog and cat rescue
Okay,
called The
okay.
Last Stop. So we do sponsor a dog from time to time to be adopted.
Aw.
I have 3
I
dogs
love
myself,
that.
so
I have a little one. I have a Shih Tzu at home. Her name is Winter.
I have a rescue at home as well too.
Do you really?
Yes, yes.
Aw.
So it's very fun. And dogs are welcome in our establishment as well
interesting.
too. As long as they're friendly, yes,
As long as
absolutely.
they're friendly, dogs are welcome, you guys. So definitely come have your coffee. Bring your dog with you. And right over here, we have the flavored coffees,
right.
and we have the coffee
this-
subscription.
This is a special program that we created. It's a monthly subscription for people that want to drink coffee on a regular basis in-house.
Mhm.
So for a monthly fee,
Of $9.95.
$9.95 currently,
You come and you can have your coffee.
you can come here as many times as you want during the day, but it's just in-house.
And it's a 30-day subscription.
Right.
Okay.
It's a monthly, yes.
You can come every day.
We have different decafs.
Mhm.
These ones that we keep on hand, I'm missing a couple at the moment. But again, the most popular. But again, we can always make anything coffee-wise that we have into a decaf.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And then-
Swiss water method. Which is the preferred method for decafs. There's different ways
Oh.
of doing things. Again, because our coffee is air roasted, not drum roasted,
Mm-hmm.
we're always going to have smoother, less acidic taste.
Yummy. It matters, you guys.
And this is the single origin that we were telling you about as well too. So we got our coffees from based on the map from those 10 different countries. We have a representation of all our coffees. They're 12-ounce bags at $16.50 that we price them at. And we have our blends down here too. We got the Chicago blend, a Seattle blend, a breakfast blend. We got the Latin. We have espresso. We have a 6-bean espresso. We have another flavor coffee. So we have a variety of coffees that we can make, a variety of flavors that we can make within the family of coffees that we serve here as well too.
A lot of fun flavors.
Yes.
And then we have ice cream over here.
So we have ice cream as well
Yes.
too. And this is another vendor.
So this is a company that I found based out of Alsip, Illinois. Because one of the big things that we're always doing here is
Some
we want businesses that are local or within the state of Illinois.
one
so to
variety,
speak,
and then we have the other
community-wise.
varieties in here.
So again, it's very important to
The
us to
chocolate.
say, keep that community feel
Yes.
and community support of other businesses and so forth. So for example, as Javier's there, we created chocolate-covered coffee beans.
From a Kenya coffee bean.
So
Wow.
we created them in cluster form. And we have 3 different varieties. We have plain, we have
Caramel.
caramel, and then also caramel with a touch of salt. And again, that is partnered with Miss Janice Candy just down the way here.
Yes.
It's her dark chocolate. I was told these were heavenly delights.
I have had those, and they are yummy.
I
for
have to
sure.
say, if you
Yes.
take one of these, you'll be back.
Yes.
These are very, very good.
Just don't eat the whole package in one day.
No, I would not recommend that.
I mean, if you must. No. But right over here, you guys have a special too, 2 bags of coffee. And then you get 1 box of Girl Scouts cookies, which is right over there.
Right over there.
So real quick,
Perfect.
too.
Yeah, we'll be right back then.
So many more vendors to go through.
Okay.
Yeah, these are
Okay, he'll
these
come
are
back.
our cooperation with the Girl Scouts as well too. So if you buy two bags or more, you get your selection of your favorite Girl Scout cookies.
All right. And then you have one more thing you want to mention, right? One more. Yes.
So this is our coffee.
I've never had that. That sounds delicious. When he said toffee, I'm like, I'm in.
We can try some.
So.
We could try some right now.
I got some in the fridge.
Yep,
Oh, okay.
let's do it. Let's do it live on
The
TV.
gentleman out of Oswego, Mammy's Coffee. In this case, it's our Guatemalan ground coffee with his almond toffee and a touch of chocolate.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It is. These are all.
Is that your favorite?
I'm diabetic, so unfortunately,
Oh, you can't have
I
it?
don't have it very often.
Or very little tiny pieces, right?
Right.
Just to indulge a little bit.
Yes, I've been accused of getting people addicted to this stuff. So.
You know, I love that you guys help the community. I love that you guys are a safe haven for all this.
All right. We are back. That's just a small portion of our recent live event at Java Plus. We went there, did a live morning show, had some coffee. It was a really great time. If you're looking for that full video, it is on our Facebook page, so be sure to check it out. And who knows, we may be doing a live show at your place of business or location coming up very soon. The time is 9:45 a.m. Good morning to all of you great people. We just had a fantastic interview with Congressman Bill Foster. It's great to have him in our new studio. For more information about what Congressman Bill Foster is doing, you can follow his Facebook and Instagram page as well. Zora Zapata, good morning. Loviana Fields, good morning to you. Jennifer Ryan Mayton, Pam Bradley, Jose Milagro Torres, good morning. Fresh Star City Church, Tracy Duran, Veronica Brambila Guerrero, Josue Pais, good morning to all of you great people. All right, so we got the news for you guys. The show is taking on some different, we're doing different things, man. We're doing different things. Our variety morning show is definitely coming to fruition, definitely taking place. So get ready to see more great things and more changes here on Good Morning Aurora. So on your screen there, first piece of news is the volunteer workshop coming up with the Neighbor Project. That's going to be this Sunday. This one's for that's the 24th, my bad. The 10th, yes. This one's coming up Sunday. It's going to be a great outreach event. So please, if you are looking for something to do, and if you want to get involved in the community and have a meaningful and lasting impact, come on out 10 a.m. to noon. The location is going to be 15 Hawthorne Court. So if you know where New England Congregational Church is, you can park in that parking lot. The property that we have is going to be there, pretty much in the parking lot. So once again, it's 15 Hawthorne Court. It's kind of hidden. So New England Congregational Church is the place to meet up and the place for you to park. And once again, if you're interested in volunteering for this event or any future events, you can text the word volunteer to 331-256-7782. The number again, 331-256-7782. Free coffee, water, and donuts will be provided. All right. The next thing coming up, this is going to be fun too. If you like breakfast, and who doesn't, our friend Kane County Circuit Clerk Teresa Barrero has her birthday breakfast for dinner event. It's going to be March 21st from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Orchard Valley Restaurant, 2411 West Illinois Avenue here. Individual tickets are $30. Sponsorship levels are available as well. Brass going all the way up to gold. Scan the QR code on the flyer for tickets and sponsorship information as well. Or you can make your checks payable to Barrero for Circuit Clerk, and the address is here on the flyer as well. So on the flyer, you'll notice that the QR code is on the bottom, kind of mid-left of it, right about there. So go ahead and scan that and get ready for this great event. Once again, it's going to be March 21st from 5 to 7 p.m. All right. And then the next piece of news that we have to talk about is the 17th Annual Health Fair for the Aurora African American Health Coalition. This is going to be Saturday, March 23rd from 9 a.m. to noon at 150 West Illinois Avenue. That's the Prisco Community Center. So this event is free. It's open to the public. There's going to be vendors there and health screenings as well. Vendors are still needed, and the information to contact them is the email. It's at the bottom, Aurora A Health Coalition at gmail.com. So the Aurora African American Health Coalition does a whole lot in the county. So if you see them anywhere, please contact them. Please connect with them. Please get to know what they're up to. See if they need any help with volunteers. You can also find out more information about this event and any upcoming events by going to their Facebook page or reaching out to the CRT Aurora team. So there is a community resource team in Aurora, part of a large network of just some grassroots organizations like Compañeros en Salud and a few others. So that's a great place to get information, and we will be sure to share this stuff when we see it for you guys. Now, time is 9:49. Alex, can we hit them with the weather one more time? Just the forecast. Can we hit them with the forecast? Yeah, there you go. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to give you guys a little something to be ready about. Unseasonably mild temperatures again today, but there is a storm coming. It's coming. So get ready for it. Today, as you guys can see, a daytime high of 75 degrees, a daytime low of 69 degrees. Alex, I like how this look. Tonight, 52 degrees for the nighttime high and 39 degrees for the nighttime low. 55 degrees tomorrow with a daytime low of 46 degrees, and scattered thunderstorms are possible tomorrow. Going into Wednesday, as you guys can see, 54 for the daytime high on Wednesday, 47 degrees for the daytime low on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, 55 degrees for the daytime high on Thursday, 48 degrees for the daytime low. That's the weather for you. Now you know here on Good Morning Aurora, so get ready for that. Stay tuned. All right, the time is 9:50. So I am going to do something a little bit different with my last 10 minutes here with all of you guys. I'm going to tell a story. I mentioned that I was going to tell a story today. So John Russell, former editor for the Beacon News and grant writer for the city of Aurora, passed away recently. I'm going to pull up his funeral information too. It's going to be at Society 57. But John Russell was a very special man. He was a really great man. And I'm going to share a story about John Russell today. So yes, he was a retired Beacon News editor, and he was the retired City of Aurora grant writer. His memorial service is this Saturday at 4 p.m. at Society 57. So if anyone is interested in attending, I encourage you to do so. But I'm going to tell you guys a story about John Russell. So I had no idea who John Russell was. I had no idea like the kind of man he was and his experience and wealth of knowledge here in the city of Aurora. But at one point in time, for many of you who've been watching this show, you guys know that Good Morning Aurora did a lot of couch surfing for a little bit. So at one point in time, we were recording in the law offices of Judd Lofshe and Associates. That law office was on Broadway, right across from the Chuck Nelson Development Center, so Benton and Broadway. And when we started to begin working in the old TV studio, basically the show at that time, we would do the show from 8 to 9, as you guys remember. So at like 9, I'd wrap up and I'd walk over to the old studio because it was new at that time, and I would always see this guy leaving the development center around the same time, and we would met. And I had the Good Morning Aurora shirt on one day, and he was like, "Good Morning Aurora." He said, "I've seen that, heard of that. Are you the guy?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, he stuck his hand out and he said, "John Russell." I had no idea who he was. So I went and told a friend named Jeanette that I met this guy named John Russell, and she worked for John Russell once upon a time at the city of Aurora. She loved John Russell. John Russell to Jeanette was everything. She really, really loved John Russell. She respected John Russell, and John Russell taught her a lot. So when I found out who he was, I was like, wow, he's got a history. I didn't see him every single day of the week. I saw him maybe like 2-3 times a week, though. And we would just talk, and we're walking up, and I'd see him for a couple seconds, couple minutes. How you doing, John? How's life? This, that, and the other. Talk about news. Talk about the way news used to be. Talk about the power of the printed word, the newspaper nerd stuff. And I would just go to the studio. One day, he said, "Hey, you should get an interview." He was like, "I know Denise Crosby. I could probably get you interviewed." And I was like, "Wow, Denise Crosby. Oh, that's cool, man. Whatever." The next time I saw John Russell, he walked with me to the old TV studio. And John Russell and myself went to the old TV studio. We just sat down. It was, if you've ever been in, it was not pretty at that time. We sat down and we talked, and we just talked about what Good Morning Aurora was up to and what I thought about how news should be and what I thought the city and people needed to hear and what my perspective and this, that, and the other. And maybe like another week or so went by, but I got a call one day, or I think it was a voicemail from Denise Crosby. And Denise Crosby mentioned that, hey, she heard about the show about me, a guy named John Russell, and she also spoke to Tracy Duran. Tracy Duran was doing a history thing, and eventually, shortly thereafter that, I ended up being interviewed the very first time ever, my very first interview ever, by Denise Crosby, who that was a very formative experience for me because I love Denise Crosby. I've been reading her column for many, many, many years before Good Morning Aurora. So to be interviewed by a person who you've been reading, it meant a whole lot. And all of that I can attribute to John Russell. John Russell is the man who first looked and thought, wow, you should be interviewed by Denise Crosby. He was the first man to ever look at what we were doing and think, wow, that should be, you deserve an interview, kid. And now, having him pass, and even before he passed, and just talking to people about who knew him and knew like his body of work and his history and all that he has done, like, I really feel honored that I was able to meet John Russell. I really do. And I will never forget John Russell. That meant a whole lot to me. And we've shared this on this show. The time is 9:56. So on this show, we've also talked about it a couple other times in other fashions. But it's the test of a person who's already done it all, or who's done great things, who looks at what you're doing and says, you know what? I support that. I'll help you out. I'll give you a leg up. That means a lot because a lot of people in a lot of other circumstances probably wouldn't do that. And there will never be another John Russell. But when I meet young people, if I'm able to do something for them, if I'm able to give them a leg up, if I can say, put me on your resume, I do that. I always try to do something for the people who it means a lot to. You should always try to do something for somebody who's on the come up, man. You always should. It's a really good feeling. And as I said, I probably never would have, or probably would have taken longer to be interviewed by established media or be looked at by a big media company like the Beacon, if it wasn't for John Russell. So I appreciate John Russell, and I will never forget John Russell. And John Russell, may he rest in peace. And on behalf of Good Morning Aurora, Buenos Dias Aurora, and Good Night Aurora, we would like to wish his family and his friends and his loved ones our condolences. So God bless John Russell and the Russell family. We appreciate it. And that kind of good-natured spirit and doing something for another person, we will always try to do our very best to continue that legacy and pay even the thought forward. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you guys have a blessed day, a positive day, and a fantastic rest of the week. Good Morning Aurora will return on Wednesday with more news, more weather, and the very best of Aurora. Don't forget to check out our sister program, Buenos Dias Aurora, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Take care of yourself and each other.
Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.